Welcome to our TV network, your ultimate destination for all things exciting and essential. From mouth-watering food to the latest in fashion, health, education, music, movies, and news, plus thrilling sports and breathtaking travel. Our TV network brings it all to you. Tune in today and experience the best of every world, all in one place, RTV.network.
The voice of Florida. Your voice is our choice with Dr. Karen Green.
Wow, c'est choix nous.
Tu voz es nuestra elección.
Ta voix, c'est notre choix.
The voice of Florida.
La voz de la Florida.
Your voice is our choice with Dr. Karen Green.
Good afternoon and welcome to this week's edition of The Voice of Florida. And today we just want to thank you for joining us across the globe. Our focus today is going to be on the recovery and the catastrophe that happened, as we know, in Jamaica with Hurricane Andrew, Hurricane Melissa. Andrew, because it is the only comparison to the devastation that we've experienced in Jamaica. I want to take a moment today because today's focus is going to be not just on the devastation and what we're experiencing in Jamaica, but we've decided today to focus on the agricultural effects and on a humanitarian space where we are on the ground from a woman's perspective. And so we're honored today to be joined by not only my co-host in camp, where we are in Camp Village, Gwyneth Roberts. Gwyneth Roberts is with us. She is the proprietor, owner, and manager of the Camp Village here in Central Florida. As you know, this is the Voice of Florida. And the Voice of Florida is one that focuses on our third border, which has to do with the Caribbean Basin. So much is happening, but we're taking this time to really be focusing on what we are experiencing as a community in the diaspora. Our third border, there's so much happening. And because we've recognized the crisis within our community. And so we welcome you, our viewers across the globe, here to the Voice of Florida. We are honored. Gwyneth, let us welcome our two guests. We have Tanisha Lee, who happens to be the president of the Female Farmers Alliance in Jamaica, one who has been there with the Rural Farmers Woman across the globe, representing Jamaican farmers. And I know she is not only on the ground, but she has been an advocate for the female initiatives in Jamaica. And I thought it was important to bring her to our audience today. I also want to welcome. Thank you, Tanisha Lee. Welcome. Thank you for being here. We also have, and I want to first take a moment to express to our audience that we're in Camp Village. It's uniquely happening here because we're having what we refer to as a cultural fusion happening in Orlando. And with that, it means that we're making some adjustments, just as it is happening in Jamaica. We're doing some adjustments here in studio. So we welcome the changes and thank you for this moment of an informal space. But we're going to make it happen today. Yeah. We also want to welcome Dr. Joan Williamson, who happens to be on the ground in Jamaica, who is a Florida resident in South Florida from Palm Beach counties. And she has been acting as a true humanitarian on her second mission to Jamaica, recognizing that she's focusing on the rural parishes, the areas that have been most devastated. And on the southern side of the island, this is her second mission. I think there are 20 practitioners, doctors, nurses, focusing on the mental capacity, the emergencies happening. And we're going to talk to these two ladies informally today. I want to share with the audience across the globe that we have an insight, a personal experience. And I'm going to ask these two ladies not only to introduce themselves, but to tell us what's happening on the ground and to ask for the needs we have, because it is real. It is a devastation that we've never experienced. For those of us who don't know what has happened, and if there are somewhere else, on a planet where we probably don't know what's going on, Jamaica succumbed to 3.5 weeks ago, Hurricane Melissa, which happens to be a catastrophic, one of the worst storms that we see. This recognized as a category 5, but we are seeing numbers.
But at the top going to the 6. That's the piece, exactly. Right?
Wind chills of over 258 have been analyzed, having hit Jamaica. Going into New Hope, imagine the name New Hope, into Westmoreland, touching ground. And it was one of those storms that crawled, literally walked across the island, crossing the food basket region of Jamaica, hitting 5 parishes particularly, but every area in Jamaica was hit. Westmoreland, Hanover, St. James, St. Elizabeth, St. Anne, and areas that this is where the food happens in Jamaica, where everything happened in this group. And ladies and gentlemen across the globe, people listening across the diaspora, we want to welcome today these two women who are pioneering the recovery, the resilience, and the strength of women. And Joan, I want to take a moment first to introduce Tamisha Lee, because her role is really on the ground, speaking to the leaders who are farming our society, who bring food economically and nurturing our food and our economic place. And Tamisha, welcome to The Voice of Florida, to our network. Thank you, Tamisha. Please join us.
Welcome, Tamisha.
Yes, thank you so much, Dr. Green. Good afternoon. Blessings to you and your listeners. And thank you so much for inviting the Jamaica Network of Rural Women Producers to share our perspective at this critical time. I am actually from Westmoreland, so where Melissa would have made landfall, it was right in my backyard. Luckily, I was not in the parish when the storm would have made its entrance. And it was 5 days later, I was able to go back to Westmoreland. And when I went to Westmoreland, I was like Zachariah. I was muted for days when I saw the level of devastation that was in my community. But today, just to introduce myself, my name is Tamisha Lee, and I am president of the Jamaica Network of Rural Women Producers. We are an organization dedicated to empowering and advocating for rural women, most of whom are farmers who drive small-scale agriculture across Jamaica. Our work, Dr. Green, is not just about farming. It's about national food security and the economic stability of our rural communities. The reality is that women are the backbone of small-scale agriculture here in Jamaica. They are the ones who manage the kitchen garden. They are the ones who process the goods. They are the ones out there in the market selling to the consumers. And they are the ones who ensure our household nutrition. Their resilience is our nation's resilience, and that's what we are fighting to protect. As it relates to the trauma that has happened, Hurricane Melissa delivered a crushing Category 5 blow. I have personally witnessed 90% to 100% crop loss in many small farms, on many small farms. This isn't just a financial loss, it's the loss of a year's income, a family's primary food source, and their self-sufficiency. The emotional toll is profound. For a small farmer watching her months of sweat, equity, and their entire livelihood washed away in hours is emotionally paralyzing. We observed high levels of anxiety, distress, and a feeling of deep vulnerability, especially among the single mothers who are now struggling to feed their children with no immediate income stream. This is the unseen cost of climate change. I will pause and hand back over to you, Dr. Green.
Tamisha, I just want to first just express to you our concerns. You know, I know personally that you have been advocating even more so your own priorities. And thank you for steering this and bringing this topic to us. You know, for listeners, Gwyneth and I have been advocating for women across the globe for a very long time from the Caribbean region. And Tamisha, I want to tell you that we collaboratively are going to be here to support you through this process, not just in the recovery, but also not only the relief, but in the recovery process. Thank you so much. And I trust that we're going to touch on that topic of how we're surviving from a mental health space of trauma as we continue in this discussion. Gwyneth, you wanted to share something because I know you've been on this topic.
I did. I did. I wanted Tamisha to just express, man, I am so sorry. Our thoughts are with you guys, and we're gonna continue to do what we can, which is share the stories, tell the stories, keep this in everyone's consciousness. I think that sometimes what happens is that people see that Kingston is not affected, so they think life goes on as normal, and they're not really paying attention to the fact that the breadbasket is important. We're going to go into a space where, you know, we're so disconnected from food in America, but even in the Caribbean, we're starting to be disconnected from our food. And so, you know, the mission is even greater. It's about bringing everyone's collective consciousness back to how do they get the food? How long does it take? How important is it to eat real food, as we like to say, right? Those are all the things that unfortunately or fortunately we have to educate folks on, because they are disconnected. For a lot of people, it's in a supermarket that they think of the food. So they're not really understanding the magnitude of this loss, the magnitude of trees being stripped, things that took years to grow being gone.
So let me interject for a moment, because what is happening now is that we have the literacy of agriculture, and interestingly, people don't understand that Jamaican farmers are no longer, they're up to date. Their technology is expounding. Their representation is at a state of universal comparison now. So we're getting there. It's amazing. As I said, we have an advocate and a leader in Tamisha Lee that is literally looking out for Caribbean or Jamaican female farmers, which is so important. I want to take this moment to also welcome our Jamaican Floridian in Dr. Joan Williamson, who has been there. This is her second mission since the hurricane hit. And from a medical space, she is down there in the belly of the devastation. Dr. Williamson, welcome and thank you for being here. Tell us what you've experienced and how are you?
Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, Dr. Karen, Tamika, and
Inette.
Yes, rightfully so. It's my second trip here in Jamaica from Palm Beach, Florida. Having come down 2 weeks ago when this just happened with my group. Fortunately for me, I have a very strong community care group of women and men. I have a strong sisterhood, what we call Sisters, Building and Supporting Sisters, which is a leg of my community care nonprofit organization, Living Well. And our sisterhood stems from, doctors, from different levels of doctors, practitioners, educators, to laypersons. And so when this hurricane hit, of course, we have been coming to Jamaica over the years. We were here in August for back to school, which we do every year. We were here last year for Beryl when the storm hit for Beryl. So when this impending storm, announced, my mom lives here, my sisters and brothers still live here. We knew then the team needed to be ready, for act, as I said.
I'm here.
Can't hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
I can
Okay.
hear you now.
Yeah, we would have understood then would have been one of the worst storms, as everyone had said. Hence, we started in preparation that we were going to be on the ground. We came 2 weeks ago. We saw the catastrophe during our surveillance, and without even planning right there, we knew we had to start taking financial resources from our pockets to start right away. While back home, we have been on many, thanks be to God, of the media platforms, Channel 5, Channel 10, Channel 25, and they saw us, and then the supporting items started to come in. But as I look back, and you're saying about the agriculture, I do have a very strong agricultural background because I went to Elam Agricultural School, 1983. So even though I did home economics before I went into medical practice, I was fortunate to have first-hand experience and agriculture, planting the pineapple
Oh, awesome.
out there in the
Awesome.
We will have to, so sorry, we'll have to sorry to interrupt. We have to go to commercial break, but I wanted to make sure that you kept this point, Karen. We have to go to commercial, If so, I'll pitch back to you, Karen, and then we'll go to commercial break and come right back to you, Dr. Joan.
Okay.
Reimagine a world where the Caribbean is seamlessly connected, where our people, our cultures, and our economies move freely across the islands. This is Connect Caribbean, more than a ferry service. It's the heartbeat of a new era. An era where economic opportunities expand, where trade flows freely across our seas, and cultural exchange flourishes. We are linking businesses, empowering communities, and reigniting the hope for a truly integrated Caribbean. Together, we're shaping a brighter, more unified future for the Caribbean. Connect Caribbean, connecting our islands, our people, our future.
Hello everybody, welcome back for another Healthy Minute. If you want to boost your brain health, make sure you eat more foods that are packed with omega-3 fatty acids, foods such as salmon and sardines. And if you want to increase your protein content, which is also excellent for your body, add some codfish. Codfish, fresh codfish in fact, is low in mercury, high in protein, and has a great number of vitamins and minerals. For this Healthy Minute, I'm Dr. Hafizullah. See you again soon. Thank you for watching. Please remember to click subscribe for the latest videos and updates. See you soon.
TravelShare. It Marketplace is an innovative, dynamic, user-friendly, and fully comprehensive global travel marketplace, featuring all Caribbean islands as a premier destinations. TravelShare. It Marketplace featured daily travel news, arts, culture, events, travel weather news, individuals' remote work, flex time, paid time off, family leisure time, and travel deals to better connect the U.S., Caribbean, and the Americas worldwide. So no matter where you want to travel in the world for work or leisure, working remotely or on vacation by yourself, with friends or family, whether by air or sea, TravelShare. It Marketplace makes it easy to get you to your destination. Book now at www.travelshareit.com.
This is it. They didn't take the championship lead until round 5, but now, having already done the honours last year, Team Brady, 2025 champions of the water here in Miami. So
The voice of Florida. Your voice is our choice with Dr. Karen Green.
Wow, c'est choix nous.
Good afternoon. Welcome back to our second segment. Welcome back to the second segment of this week's edition of the Voice of Florida. Today, we're focusing on the recovery of Jamaica's storm, Hurricane Melissa, that devastated Jamaica's economy or agricultural factor industry, as well as just the lives and livelihood of so many. I want to continue with Dr. Joan Williamson from our first segment. Joan, you were telling us that you also have your introduction to adulthood was part of the agricultural experience. You went to the agricultural school before you became a medical practitioner.
That's
Tell
correct.
us some more. Tell us more.
Yes. So as I was saying that, of course, that's my first love is agriculture, because that's the school that I got my, part of my tertiary education from, as I would have passed my exam at 15 years old and went on to Elam Agricultural School, where I stayed for 3 years before I migrated and went on to university. So again, there's a passion for me with agriculture. And as I would have surveyed the area on the first 2 weeks when I came and saw the destruction, devastation of the crops. Now, I am part of my health and wellness as a practitioner is a healthy you. I'm very holistic in my approach in well-being. And as I looked and saw the destruction, devastation of the crops, the fields, there were no veggies, there were no food that someone spoke about earlier, that within the next 6 months, I cannot see where Jamaica will be. Even on this weekend, as I stayed at an Airbnb, my entire meal was just rice and yams, a few yams that they could get, but no tomatoes, no lettuce, and I'm a veggie person. So again, this is so important for me as well to see how much we can help, like you said, not only with the relief, but also with the recovery. And the health and wellness also plays an impactful part in this, because I concentrate on well-being and healthy you. The chronic conditions, as I would see, beyond the devastation, as yesterday, my heart just went out when I was in St. James, Catherine Hall. Everybody's blood pressure was over 200, over 100. And when I asked, I said, what happened? What is it that is affecting your blood pressure? The food. A lot of the food that they're eating, of course, is contained with high level of sodium. The corned beef, the sardines, the tin mackerel, the soup, the ramen soup, all packed with sodium. Many have lost their medication, and there's no fresh produce for them to even consume. So this is just so heartrending. And I'm telling you, I have treated over 400 people.
Wow.
Have been here this 4 days this time. And the chronic condition is mainly the hypertension that are out of control, the diabetes that are out of control. And this is so important and pivotal, Karen, as you would have brought this to the forefront. Again, because if our dietary conditions are not modified, if they are not taken into consideration, we will just continue to have more chronic conditions. So go back to agriculture. We need to find a way of how we can help to recover this whole agricultural, perspective of Jamaica as we build Jamaica together. Yes, I'm here more for the medical aspect, but I'm also big in prevention, medical prevention, primary care prevention, is to prevent against chronic medical conditions. And a big part of that is about lifestyle, including our diet.
So, Joan, I just wanted to bring to the audience's mention that you have been collaborating with the 4-H Club.
Correct.
Which is one of the collaborators, one of the leaders or organizers of the 4-H Club. You've been participating there as well. And we all know, folks from the Caribbean, that the 4-H Club is an introduction to agriculture for most of our primary and secondary education maneuvering. I am just wanting to take a personal opportunity to express the gratitude that we as a Jamaican and in the diaspora have experienced. You currently serve on one of our leadership advocacy groups for this Hurricane Melissa, and I'm just wanting to thank you for the work you've been doing. Going back to Tamisha. Tamisha, I know you are there on the ground, and you have been literally covering all 6 parishes of the female farmers. It is important that our listening audience understand that part of my collaborative initiative is going to make sure that the word goes out across the globe for partners involved in the agricultural space, but for those who are also just genuinely wanting to know how they can help in this regard. So I'm saying that, Tamisha, you both have a partner in us. We're going to make sure that the world sees and knows where and how we can help and what is needed. Tamisha, tell us what it is we need at this point to help you in this process of recovery and collaborative support.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Green. Just to highlight one thing, it is important for us to note that the entire country was not hit by a Category 5 hurricane. And there were parishes like St. Thomas that was a Cat 1. But still, we have our members who would have lost their livelihood. I make mention of this. Why? Because our recovery plan is in phases, and we are simultaneously, while we're trying to get our members in Westmoreland, St. Elizabeth, Trelawney, St. James, where the hurricane would have hardest hit, we're simultaneously trying to provide seeds to women in other parishes so that production can start instantly to feed our nation. So just wanted to highlight that. In response to your question, Dr. Green, what we need immediate assistance, which we have been covering in terms of providing care packages, clean, safe drinking water. We have been providing lanterns, tarpaulin, generators at specific location where our members can get their phones and their power banks and their lantern charged. So the important things that we need seeds, because it is important to get our women back into production, because as Dr. Jode mentioned before, eating is important, but not only any food, but it is important for us to get our nutrients, our fruits and our vegetables to our members.
Ladies, we'll take a break. We'll take a break and come right back, because this is a very, very important point. We have to go to break, but we'll come right back to Misha and catch you right at that point.
Okay.
Third Wall Street is a new emerging global capital markets formation and structured trifactor financial hub at the U.S. Third Border in St. Croix, U.S. Virgin Islands, in the Caribbean and Latin America. The new Third Wall Street is the home of the Alexander Hamilton Financial Center and named in honor of Alexander Hamilton, an American founding father, first U.S. Treasury Secretary, and architect of the U.S. financial system and modern America. Third Wall Street is located in a U.S. National Heritage Area, Opportunity Zone, and the boyhood home of Alexander Hamilton in St. Croix, U.S. Virgin Island, connecting 3 financial hubs in the Americas by way of new innovative financial technology and markets: New York Wall Street South, Brickell Avenue, Miami, and Third Wall Street in St. Croix, U.S. Virgin Islands, and established the new Caribbean America's Single Economy Zone, developed by SETI Case Capital Markets. Third Wall Street will transform financial markets, improving access to capital worldwide. Visit www.thirdwallstreet.com to learn more.
Welcome to our TV network, your ultimate destination for all things exciting and essential. From mouth-watering food to the latest in fashion, health, education, music, movies, and news, plus thrilling sports and breathtaking travel, our TV network brings it all to you. Tune in today and experience the best of every world, all in one place, RTV.network.
The voice of Florida. Your voice is our choice with Dr. Karen Green.
Tamisha, welcome back to the third segment of our program today. Tamisha, you were expressing the fact that the storm not only hit the southern parts parishes, but also the eastern parishes. And the focus is now, the emphasis is not just on one type of crop, but on all our crops. Continue, please, Tamisha.
Yes, yes. So as I was mentioning before, we want to get production back up in the different parishes, and our members in different parishes, parts of St. Elizabeth that are not badly affected, they have started to plant back in Manchester, St. Thomas, St. Catherine, and all the other parishes that were not badly affected. But what Melissa has exposed, Dr. Green, is not just an economic crisis, but a human rights issue. And I want us to also think about the exploitation of our women and girls who are into these spaces. You know, yesterday I went to a shelter to distribute some feminine products. And while I was doing the distribution, there was this young lady and her entire chest was under icky. And I was like, you know, I was a little bit concerned about that, because if we fail to address these problems, then it is going to mushroom into a bigger problem later on. But as a nation, we are signatories to the UN's CEDAW, which is the Convention on the Elimination of All Forms of Discrimination Against Women. Crucially, Article 14 specifically mandates government to ensure that rural women have equal access to essential services and economic development. For our women farmers to recover, the government and stakeholders must recognize this is not charity. It is a binding human rights duty to secure their rights to all the opportunities that are out there.
Tamisha, it's so important you touched on that, because there's a collaborative group of folks who are supporting this leadership group in Florida that has organized. It's a global group of folks who've seen and been through these tragedies. And I can tell you right now that you have touched on a point that we're actually highlighting, that when these tragedies happen across the globe, there is in fact exploitation. We're looking at child endangerment. We're looking at the fact that there is sexual exploitation. We're looking at the protection of children in schools and just the safety of being in environments that, as you mentioned, this kind of group, you know, when we have places where there are campsites, that the protection of our children is so imperative. That we've known in other countries where this has happened, in other nations of, for example, Haiti and in the Samoas after different tragedies, that there are literally sex trafficking and other endangerments that happen, human trafficking. And so we've looked, we need to, this is a holistic place. And as we know, women are not only nurturers, but protectors. So this is bigger than we can even imagine. These conversations will continue. And we are gaining the information because each of you in your own right, as overseers and leaders, have data, because information is necessary to do any kind of preventive and any kind of collaborative understanding of the dangers and damages that we've experienced, right? So we're working on that. And thank you for bringing that to our attention, because we are, in fact, also, Tamisha, you're aware that next year, 2026, is actually the year the UN has designated for women farmers and for making sure that this is something that we're going to go forward with. We'll talk more about that, Tamisha, going forward, because this is where we are in securing not only an economic peace, but as I said, women have long been the founding purse holders of our society and nurturers of our children and families. So we're going to touch on that. And Tamisha, I want to tell you that we respect and honor your service in what you're doing, because it's not an ordinary task. And I know as a fact that you have probably left your own roof from being covered to find tarpaulings for people across the country. I want to move over to Dr. Joan, because Dr. Joan, one of the areas that you've touched, and from my own inquiry, is that you've probably seen more wounds than any hospital that hasn't opened in the devastated areas.
Absolutely.
Tell us what you're seeing, not only fractures, but bruises. What are you?
And before I go there, Dr. Karen, to touch back on the young females, because as I was in St. Elizabeth in Middle Quarters, that the school that we went to on Wednesday was one of the shelters. And I can tell you that there is a great population of young girls that were just wandering at the shelter. One of the things, I'm coming back to that, but one of the things we did also was ensure that we brought down lots of care packages, toiletries, sanitary napkins. In fact, some of the nurses brought down sex education materials and condoms and stuff like that, just to ensure, because when you're in a shelter, again, you are at risk for all of these exploitations. STDs was one of the greatest things beside the wounds that we saw, because people were in with vaginosis, the men coming in with discharges from their, penile area, because the loose area where there's not so much monitoring, some of the parents cannot be found. And these are young girls that now are at risk for all of these STIs and STDs. And not only the young girls, but also young boys. So there is so much more to focus on, as this, Melissa, has just broadened the whole concept of a holistic approach to rebuild Jamaica. So yes, STIs, STDs, and wounds. I mean, again, it's just heartbreaking, Karen and Kamisha and our hosts, because again, elderlies, another thing, pain. The wounds were there because they were running from the storm. Yeah, apparently I questioned a few of them, and I literally went into an emotional breakdown when I saw like ladies in their 80s, and they were coming and they were saying, my back, my knees are hurting. And I said, what happened? They said, during the storm, I was running because I didn't know the severity of it. And I fell. I have bruises on my back. We were cleaning bruises. They're young kids that their knees are not necessarily fractured, but wounded. And some of my nurses were just cleaning wounds in the cars and, just applying antibiotic. Luckily, we brought down several antibiotic and wound care. I mean, we did so many wounds, but the pain from the elderly, from falling, running from the storm, running, leaving their homes, lost their IDs, lost their tablets, lost all their medication. So let me tell you, today, as I stayed home to reflect, when I say stayed home, I'm in Kingston. I came back from the West yesterday, and we were supposed to be in Cave Valley, St. Anne today, but I just couldn't handle it mentally. 5 days was like just so exhausting for me that I felt I was going through an emotional and mental breakdown. So
Dr. Joan, let me interject for a moment, because that's one of the areas that we want to be able to bring in some support, because this is not this is traumatic on so many different levels, because you who've been in the health industry for almost 30 years, you're seeing this in 5 days, you're traumatized. Just imagine the person who's sitting in this since the storm hit.
Yes.
How they're adjusting.
So burnt out.
Exactly. And then beyond that, so we have, based on our Hurricane Melissa leadership initiative support group, we have collaborated, of which you're a part of, Dr. Williamson and Tamisha, is that we have identified we've put together ideas, collaborative suggestions from an education place, which includes not only holistic, but how we're going to attack all these priorities, all these concerns, from the exploitation to the feeding, to the humanitarianism, an umbrella of it. But we are going to be looking at all these factors. And it is important, Gwyneth, that we do not lose sight, because we have it's amazing, because Kingston, as Tamisha said, is operating as the economic hub of Jamaica. And we're looking to open Jamaica for tourism in another 2 weeks, right? However, we cannot lose sight of the catastrophe, because people tend to forget. People's memory are short. And Jamaica, as we are resilient, it is important that we do not leave these people, don't have them left behind. No matter how we want to things, yes, no matter how we want to move things around, but we got to make sure we keep the focus on these areas of priority. Tamisha, I want to get back to you on something because we're talking about seeds. How are
Karen, I just want to interject one little piece just to round off what Dr. Jones said. We want to remind people as tourism gets started that medical tourism in the sense of humanitarian missions and that kind of thing really should be what we should be pushing from this end, reminding all of our nurses, all of our doctor friends, all of our friends in the medical fields and in the Caribbean community, we have many. Take mission trips down so that you can hand off Dr. Joan from you guys to some trusted professionals. That's what we need to push.
And interesting enough, because we've looked at this as well, that agro-tourism is also a factor in leading into this sector.
But I have a letter here from the 4-H that we have brought down several. We just got our container yesterday. But one of the things that they requested from us, and we're working with them, and it's good to get in touch with Tamika as well, because this is what they requested from us. And there were several young ladies, which was surprising, from the 4-H club, that every parish we went, we had about 10 young ladies, men too, but young ladies who was in the agriculture, and they're requesting vegetable seed, tomatoes, cucumbers, I got it here, sweet peppers, cabbages, and seed trays, scatters, and safety gears, water boots, and gardening gloves. So this, again, my medical supplies are here, but my next mission as I come back, believe you me, I'll be back in December. I'm going to be getting some of these items for these young ladies and young men. But there's a lot of young women who are in agro, and I'm making sure I'm bringing their water boots. I've been there in the 80s. I'm bringing seeds. I'm trying to procure seeds here in Jamaica. I can bring them from the United States, but I'm raising funds. And I have a letter that I'll be sending out to different persons and business owners to support this 4-H. And this is one of the reasons why I partner with them, because it's also my heart and my passion, having that fundamental to ensure, again, that these young ladies get the necessary, products and seeds and gardening tools, etc., to restore the agriculture devastation.
Dr. Williamson, I want to thank you for that as well. And just so we're aware that the private sector organization and body in Jamaica is also collaboratively working right now to map out these necessities and to collaborate with the different sectors of farmers to be able to see their priorities and to see how we can get this moving. Tamisha, we talked about seeds, but within the farmers of Jamaican female priorities, we do have livestock farmers, correct, within the organization?
Oh, yes, we do have our poultry farmers. 100% of them are destroyed. There was one member who she actually took the chicken in her room, and unfortunately they did not survive. So yes, we have persons who are poultry farmers. We have our members who would have lost over 10, 20 goats, pigs, cows, and all of that. But what I want to add, Dr. Green, is in addition to the stuff that Dr. Joan would have mentioned, it is also important for us to help our women to mechanize their farm, because the usage of hoe and fork, they are so 19th century, and our women are not only caregiver, they're the ones caring for the children, they're the ones caring for the elderly. So if we get these farms to be mechanized by providing them with small tractors, it will make their time on the farm less, and it will give them the chance to care for their children, the elderly, and everybody else. So I want you to, yes, go ahead, Dr. Green.
No, you go first. I'm sorry, Tamisha. Sorry to interject. Go ahead.
Yes. So in addition to providing the seeds and, of course, the tractor to get them mechanized, it is also important for us to get them to do climate smart agriculture, where we provide them with tank. We're expecting a drought in another month or so. It makes no sense you farm if you do not have water.
Thank
So
you.
we have to ensure that we get drip system, provide them with tanks, provide them with drip hose, irrigation, so that their farm can be maintained and they can withstand whatever climate impact in the future, like drought. Because if we have a drought, then that will affect their production.
You know, the conversation here, Tamisha, is so enlightening and to many an educational place. Because what is happening now is that the Jamaica government, the Minister of Agriculture, expressed to us that they were looking at these kind of industrial supports with, you know, finding mechanical stuffs, industrialized equipment to help in the process. But let us be clear that we also have a partnership, because most folks, there will be support from the government, but there's also the private sector. All of these people are individual business owners. And I can say that because Gwinnett also chairs the Chamber of Commerce here within our Caribbean sector, that we have, in fact, a need. And we're talking to, today, you see how informal we are here. We're all women on this call today, talking to people across the globe. Yeah, and here comes the calls on these notes. It only goes to show that we're there. That is actually a call from the Jamaica Information Service. We need to put them on mute right now. But we're saying that, listen, we have the need at this point to make sure that we create these kind of information. There's data that needs to be captured. This is something I know that the private sector is trying to collaborate along to support with the Jamaican government. But you know, Tamisha, that your farmers across Jamaica, because like the children in school, Dr. Joan,
yes,
they know their community. They know not only the abusers, but the protectors,
absolutely.
Right? And so we're talking to you, we're asking you from this podium, from this platform, Gwinnett and I are saying to you today that because you have a partner in us, right?
Yes.
We want to make sure that the support you need, be it from the mechanical support to seeds, to psychological support, to medical necessities, to counseling, to technological enhancement, to climatic support. We want to be able to help in this regard, and not only from our platform, but to be able to speak to people we know who've experienced this, and to be able to get the support we need from organizations and from partners.
Really appreciate it.
Yes, I just want to piggyback on that piece that Karen said. We have so many folks in the diaspora here that they want to be led into, this is what you can do. We call it time, talent, or treasure. Everybody's got something they can give. So, you know, if it's providing the platform to keep spreading the message, if it's providing the funding to help the folks who can actually go on ground and do, providing the intellectual capital, providing the strength to be on the ground and put yourself out there like you guys are, we can all continue to do something. And so as you ladies share with us, yes, we will keep tapping in to keep pulling those resources to bear for you.
We want to welcome
you. Yes, and I want to.
Go ahead, Joan.
Yes, I just want to also mention, Dr. Green, that we have a strong partnership, the Jamaica Network of Rural Men Producers. We do have a strong partnership with the Minister of Agriculture and Fisheries and Mining, Honorable Floyd Green. In my capacity as president of the Jamaica Network of Rural Women Producers, we would have given a seat at the Rural Agricultural Development and Authority Board of Director. So we do contribute to policy dialogue as it relates to agriculture, so that the different policies and programs are mainstreamed and our women are truly represented. So we are in dialogue with the CEO of RADA, so that we can receive some seeds and fertilizers for our members to get them back on track. I just wanted to highlight that.
Thank you for doing that. We also have taken the liberty through our own capacity, through the private sector initiative, as well as through our advocacy through the leadership body we've created here globally across the diaspora, is that we've reached out to folks as well within the different chapters to not only ask for the resources in, for example, one of our partners in Jamaica is H&L, who has basically responded to some of the needs, because this is a real deal. If we do not get the collaboration we need of our partners, this is Jamaica's health is not just in our music, in our culture. It is also in the fact that we feed, live, and attract to come to our country, right? It is Jamaica is known across the globe of the gem, this rock, this loving place of good vibes and one love. On that note, I want to also suggest to folks in our listening audience to go to oneconnect.com to see how we can get more information. OneConnect to make the oneconnect.com to get information. We are going to be continuing this process. This is just the beginning of where we are in making things happen. And, we can also say it, we know our men, our brothers are there to help. But in all honesty, from whatever your belief is, I am one who is of a Christian faith. And I know Sister Joan, Reverend, is also part along that line. And one of the things we've learned in our Caribbean faith, in our Caribbean culture, is that we are believers.
Yes.
We're resilient because of our faith.
Yes.
We are strong because of our beliefs.
Yes.
And because we love, and we do this out of just love. It's not just, we don't have the thought of loving our brother, we love our neighbors, right?
Yes.
And so I'm encouraging everyone in our audience today to listen to our sisters. We are not only mothers, we are nurturers. And I am taking this as my personal responsibility to make sure that the women across this nation of which I call my birthland,
yes, ma'am,
this region of which I know Gwyneth calls our Caribbean basin, the third border. There's so much happening in our area because we're going to touch on all this. Usually the Voice of Florida covers not only civic engagement, politics, social issues, economic matters, but we also want to cover the day-to-day basis of our survival, right? And so I am just truly honored today. I touched you two ladies because I realized the value of your strength. And I know that you're humanitarians in your own right. And you're sacrificial to an extent because you, Joan, gave Thanksgiving to Jamaica. And from what you just described, was you're coming back on the 20th, so you're going to be there for Christmas, right?
Actually, I'm coming back around the 15th, and I'll leave around the 22nd. I can't give up Christmas because I have children and grandchildren. So
and then I know as a fact that having had discussions with Tamisha, that she has not even gone to her own home to fix her own roof, right, Tamisha?
Yes.
No, that is last on my list. There are a lot of women out there who are depending on us, our leadership, and you are all from Jamaica, so you know that we are boasty people. We are proud, and we are very sensitive to our membership, so we ensure that we go to them. A lot of them are not going to be joining the lines to collect the stuff, and we are aware of that. We are responding to that, and we recognize how they operate. So we try to address that as best as possible. So we find them in the nook and cranny of our rural communities, to ensure that they're well taken care of. And a lot of them, the first time they get connection after the storm, they reached out to me. I was the first person a lot of them would have reached out to, because they know that within our network, it is a safe space, for them to get the support that they need to thrive and to get them back on track. Nobody asks to be in this situation, and therefore we're not asking anybody for charity. We just need the tools and the support to rebuild and to continue to do what we do best, and that is what contributing to our nation's food security and the nutrition. And just in closing, Dr. Grieve, we mentioned food security and nutrition. It is also important for us to highlight our food sovereignty. Most of our seeds are coming into the country. We need to establish our seed banks, preserve our native fruits and vegetables. So while we are talking about our food security and nutrition, it is also important for us to make mention of our food sovereignty. I hand back over to you.
Thank you for that. Go
I
ahead.
just wanted I know we have to close soon, but I wanted to say to Nisha, I'm Guyanese, but very much Caribbean in my outlook. So the greatest compliment you could pay me is saying I'm Jamaican, because if you can't even tell, I love it. But that's because I have a heart for our Caribbean people, and Jamaicans have poured into us, and it's not about getting a handout now. It is us pouring back into Jamaicans, right? And Jamaica. That's how I feel. It's how a lot of people in the diaspora feel. Jamaica is where culturally we gain strength. I don't know how to explain it, but it's our time to pour back in the love that we've received and the strength that we've received. So, Karen, I pass over to you to kind of wrap us down.
Go ahead. Thank you so much. I was about to express to Tamisha that you're an adopted Jamaican because we just love you like that.
Got my TIN number and everything.
Let me just say this, that folks, across, we're winding down. We have a minute or so to go. I just want to take this opportunity to thank you all. Thank you, Tamisha. Thank you, Joan, for being here. Thank you, Gwyneth, for always opening your home at Camp Village to us. This is just the beginning of our collaboration. Ladies, I want you to know that this was an informal gathering today. We did things a little different, but the message is real. Yes. We want to be able to support things as we go forward from a medical place, from an agricultural place, from an economic place, from an industrialized place. We're going to get this done with collaboration, with organization, and with advocacy. And so, ladies and gentlemen across the globe, we thank you for joining us this week on The Voice of Florida. We will have our guests back. Ladies, will you be back so we can do more?
Absolutely. Let us know when you're
ready.
I shall be back.
I shall return.
We're going to do this, and we're going to do this collaboratively. So again, we want to welcome you and thank you for joining us on The Voice of Florida this week. We're going to continue to be advocates for Jamaican society. And as I said, this is just the beginning of making the fulfillment of building back better and building back broader and building back stronger the passion and the sincerity and the resilience of our Jamaica. One love. God bless you.
God
See you next week.
Thank you, Dr. Karen.
Thank you. Thank you.
Ladies.
It was a pleasure.
You,
and I'm here, and I will be here to support and to collaborate. God bless. All right.
Keep up the good work and make sure you get some rest in between.
Yes, I'm going right back to bed as soon as I'm done here. I'm tired. Okay. All righty. Okay. Bye-bye.
Take care.
Bye-bye. And Karen, while we wrap and wait for our, because we could still keep going just a little bit, I do want to highlight to people what we just heard being shared. The fact that we need to concentrate on that agro sector is important. The seed banking is important. The getting the supplies that, as the mission kind of evolves and changes, the needs change. And so folks, I hope you tapped into what the needs are for the young people who are ready to go out and put in some work, right? I have not heard of the boots. Today was the first time I heard that. So we're going to make sure we do those lists and share it with folks so they're kept up to date with the needs as the needs change.
And thank you for mentioning that. So we have been collaborating with the small business sector, the private sector, the different branches in the agricultural sector, or pig farmers, or agricultural farmers, or young farmers, or new farmers, or retiring farmers. There is so much to it. And of course, the tourist sector. So as we move along within the next couple of weeks, we'll be looking at each sector of this maneuvering. And again, one of the things we want to point out is that next year is ironically, or should I say it's a blessing, that the United Nations is recognizing farmers, women farmers, for the next decade before we go about making sure this happens. So again, folks, we have a minute to go. We just want to say to you all that don't forget, continue to support Jamaica in our time of need. Continue to make your donations. Go to One Love, One Connect Jamaica, oneconnect.com, as well as to come to Camp Village at the Florida Mall in Orlando, where we're still taking
Fashion Square Mall.
Fashion Square Mall, still taking donations here, and we will continue to do our part in building back Jamaica better. Thank you for joining The Voice of Florida this week. We look forward to seeing you next week, next Saturday at the same time. God bless you all. Take care now.
Thank you, guys.
Bye now. We're waiting on our wind down.
Mm-hmm. Hey, we're good. Just keep going because I don't want him to have to break. So literally, we'll keep going, and then we get guys. If you're watching this, you're getting to see a little behind the scenes.
Right?
But yeah.
So, Gwyneth and I have been making sure that we talk about the third border, we talk about the scenarios of
Mhm.
making this happen, and so here we are. It's one of those times when Jamaica needs us, and it's so impressive to see our women taking the
Yes.
mantle, going into the heart, as she said, in the crevice of Jamaica, going into these rural areas where
Mhm.
in some of these areas in these parishes, you never even hear the names before. But
Yeah,
these have been so hit. And so we're making sure that we support them in every way going forward.
I
So
love it. I love it. Well, Karen, I think we're definitely past our time, and so what I know is that Anthony can cut. So I think we're good.
we're good. See you
We're
next week.
good.
Folks. See you next week, folks. The Voice of Florida. We look forward to seeing you next week. And just keep going. We'll continue to make this
Mhm.
happen. God bless.
Thank you.
Take care now. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Welcome to our TV network, your ultimate destination for all things exciting and essential. From mouth-watering food to the latest in fashion, health, education, music, movies, and news, plus thrilling sports and breathtaking travel. Our TV network brings it all to you. Tune in today and experience the best of every world, all in one place, RTV.network.